Hi, my name is Paxton, and this is the Career Spotlight. Today, we are joined by Ty Johnson, who is an education manager for Early Learning Ventures. Welcome, Ty.
Hey, Paxton.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. I appreciate being here.
Let's just go right into it.
All right.
What do you do as a early learning manager for your company?
Absolutely. So for my role at Early Learning Ventures, I support both internal and external staff to meeting the state requirements for becoming qualified to do their specific roles in the different child care centers and family child care homes that we work with.
That sounds like a very important job.
I'm biased, so I think it's the most important job.
So generally, what would you say is a good reason to go into this career, and why would some people like it?
I think when you're thinking about what you want to do for a career path, it has a lot to do with your values and what you believe in. And I think people would like supporting professional development for others if they believe in growing people, if they believe in creating the best foundation for young learners to have the best future possible when it comes to education. This is an optimal field to go into and have this particular career path.
So this would be a great career path if you want to go into overall education.
Yes, absolutely. This is an administration career path option for those teachers who have been in the classroom and they want to continue forward and help and use all that they have learned in a way to direct and support others.
You mentioned teachers that have already been in a classroom. Would you say that this job, it's either a requirement or it would be much easier if you have taught in a classroom?
Very, very great deduction. Yes, this job will absolutely be much easier if you have had some exposure in an early learning environment. That way you get a real good sense of what professionals are actually experiencing in the learning environment.
So specific to you, what is your favorite part or parts of this job?
Who specific to me? Oh my absolute favorite part of this work is celebrating with the professionals when they meet their goals. Like there is nothing more fulfilling when you see them hold up that diploma or you see them hold up that credential, or they are saying, wow, look what I'm able to do with the children now because I have this baseline knowledge. I think that I love seeing the deposits go into action and then the children and families benefiting from what the professional has learned.
I can sense your excitement about that all the way over here. So all jobs have some ups and some downs. What are some not so fun parts of this job?
Probably one of my least favorite part of the work that I get to do is when we are on a course or a direction and something happens. I don't know, say COVID-19, and it throws a wrench in things. And then you have to become very creative. You have to respond proactively, and you basically have to course correct, and you have to redesign what someone's professional development might look like. You have to redesign how they're receiving that professional development. You have to redesign their goals and expectations around that professional development. And when things like that happens, it can be a challenge. Yeah, I'd say that's probably my least favorite.
Yeah. And I noticed in your answer, you said the work that I get to do. And I want to call that out because it really is. You get to do it, not you have to do it.
Yeah, I am so blessed to get to do this work. Like, so many people are qualified to do this work, but I get to do it because it is a passion of mine. And I think that whenever you decide to go into a career, look at it from that perspective, because you can do anything you want to do. And the thing that you choose on is what you get to do. And that in itself is sheer beauty.
Yeah. So look for work you love and bring your passion into it.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah. So let's talk a bit about personality traits. What would you say are some good personality types or traits for this job?
I think that to do this particular work, a person has to be very flexible. They have to be creative. They have to be passionate. They really have to be able to focus on achievement-oriented goals, as well as, being outgoing and friendly and open-minded more than anything. That is just so important.
Yeah. And then on the flip side, what are some personality traits that don't fit in with this job?
Some personality traits I'd say that wouldn't fit in would probably be a closed mindset or a fixed mindset that, I can only do it this way or I can't do it at all. Like that type of person would have a struggle at succeeding at this work. I think that the personality type that kind of seems like things are a little bit pessimistic, or for lack of a better word, a person who has a controlling personality wouldn't do well in this work, mainly because there's so much outside of yourself that you don't get to control. And so because of that, you really have to be flexible.
Yeah, I can see how those wouldn't fit in as well.
Yeah, no, would definitely be a struggle.
Which of those personality traits or types, more on the good side than the bad side, would you say fit you best?
Oh my goodness. That fit me best is I'm super outgoing. I am extremely flexible, and I believe everything is possible. I think that I'm successful from my perspective in this role because I allow it to evolve. And sometimes we may be set up on one route, but then have to take the other route. And that flexibility goes a long way.
Yeah. So you have to be flexible and believe in everything and everyone around you and what can be done.
Yeah. And you actually just said the magic word. You have to believe in everyone around you, because we're working human to human. This is person to person work. And so this person to person work is done in a way that you have to believe in the person on the doing side.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. So what would you say the work-life balance is like for this job?
Paxton, I have to share a thought that I have on that phrase of work-life balance. I like to look at it as a work-life blend. And I like to look at it like that because some days my 100% looks very different from other days. And so I blend the work in regards to, I communicate well with my family and say, hey, I have to work 10 hours today versus, a typical 9 or 8.5 hour day. Some days I have to work 12 hours and then they're aware, so we can set space and time to do other things. And so we kind of blend it all together, especially now that home and work are blended together in the same space. We have hours of the day that are routinely set aside for both work and for play. So that really does help a lot. And I think we blend it pretty well together. I think one of the most important thing is to remember to stay self-disciplined, right? And stay in routine as much as you can, and then allow for that space in between for the what ifs and for the things that happen that are just not in our control. And honestly, it's funny. If I were to show you my calendar, I have oops time scheduled throughout my day. It's 10 minutes here, it's 15 minutes there, it's 20 minutes there. And that really helped blend home and work in this particular situation, especially.
Yeah, I really like that saying of blend. It really reflects that reality is really all about flowing, and there isn't really stuff that's can't be strongly said.
Yes, exactly. And I love how you use flowing. I actually like that. I may have to reflect on that tonight.
Yeah. What are some types of things out of your control that affect your job, like COVID or pandemics overall, the economy, the weather, etc.?
Ah, very good question. You know, it's interesting because we have so many different agencies that govern our work in early care and education. So I would say like state laws, federal guidelines, and the different um, agencies that we work with child care centers and family child care homes really do impact our work, and we don't necessarily have control over that. We have control within that, meaning we can approach their guidelines and regulations in a way that meets our program goals and guidelines. But we still have to make sure that we are adhering to them and following them and making sure that we are meeting the expectations, because it supplies a lot of our funding.
Yeah. So you really need to be able to be flexible within set guidelines.
Yes, absolutely. One of the things I love about being federally funded for parts of our work is that they give you this framework to work within, and it's up to you to figure out what that looks like. And so by allowing that type of flexibility, it doesn't give you overarching control, it gives you control from within.
You mentioned government and rules and guidelines. What are some methods that you use to maintain creativity while working within those rules and regulations?
One of my best strategy is I go to those who are actually providing the work. I go directly to the field. I ask all of our partners, what's working? What would you do more of? What would you do differently? What kind of trends have you been noticing in your program? What obstacles are coming your way? Like, what are you trying to overcome? It could be directly job related, or it could be a resource that's found in the community. And for the work that I do, I'm able to then partner and provide, or at least help with access to those resources.
Yeah. So you try and talk to the people you're trying to serve.
Yes, because honestly, the people doing the work really knows what's best for them. They also know way more than I will ever know how much time they have to dedicate to something. Um, if I'm going in it blindly and I'm asking them to save 3 hours out of their day to do something where they only have an hour and a half, if I don't ask them, then I don't know that they have an hour and a half. So let's make the most of that hour and a half, and let's get the job done over 2 days versus one.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you've mentioned early education. By that, do you mean like preschool, kindergarten, those first early bit of education?
So the early education years that we work with is actually infant toddler care. So it's early childhood education. So we are actually birth through 3 when we partner with child care centers, and then we're birth through 4 when we partner with family child care homes. So it's right there prior to the young learner going into pre-K or kindergarten care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's before
Yes.
pre-K and kindergarten. Yeah. So what are some words of advice for people who want to go into this job, like the education required? How long does it take to advance? What's the stress level?
So I would say that early childhood professionals, they typically know if they're going into early care and education. Um, Follow your passion. It's about working with children and family. understand your values and know what you can bring to the table. It's very rare that people come into early care and education for high paying jobs or wonderful health benefits. Hopefully, as we are going through this pandemic, that will change. But currently, our field is not compensated as such. Our field is compensated more on an emotional, compassionate and passionate level. So really making sure that you have a good support system and you have things in place that are really going to help support you to being able to afford the access to the education, because it does take formal and informal training and education to really be a prudent early care and education provider. It's a job that really takes a lot of understanding of child development, as well as the impact of what your behavior has on a child in their learning journey. So I would really, really advise to consider their path in regards to that particular education journey.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And from that, I take it that you knew when you were quite young that this is where you wanted to go.
Oh yes, absolutely. I've been blessed to get to do a couple other activities in my career path, but nothing like this. This is phenomenal work, and just getting to work with those who work with others is very powerful in itself.
Thank you so much. All of you, if you want to see more interviews, if you want to learn more about the jobs that are out there, go down there, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you never miss another video, and comment who I should interview next.